Hi friends! If you want to check out another shadow showdown between Viseart's newly released Spritz edit and Natasha Denona's Sunrise palette, then please keep on watching. Hi, my name is Alicia. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeups, to head over to my Instagram. Upon me uploading my Viseart Spritz edit palette, which you can see with the link up above and down below, we went through a full-on review, swatches, 4 demos, and comparisons. Many of you have mentioned how it reminded you of the Sunrise palette, of the Sunset palette, and even some ColourPop palettes, which I was actually quite surprised about. Timestamps will be down below for any of the portion of the video you wish to skip over to, whether you just want to see the demo or you just want to see the comparison. I will briefly speak about some of the comparisons now. Of course, we will go into the demo showdown using Sunrise on one eye and Viseart on the other. I wanted to quickly show the Spritz palette up against ColourPop Sweet Talk. I thought that was an interesting mention simply because while I understand ColourPop Sweet Talk has the peaches, I still feel this a little more comprehensive. Yeah, this is predominantly peach gold with the light browns. And while I understand you got the light brown, you got the coral, you got the deep raspberry red, I feel you have a lot more versatility in regards to these shimmers versus what you find in Sweet Talk. And Sweet Talk has the glitters, which could be really troublesome for many individuals. They could cause severe irritation and sensitivity. And Viseart shadows, I feel, don't do that. As far as I know, I'm sure everyone is different. Let us know down below if you had a really negative reaction with these shadows. But I just feel this is overall more user-friendly, and even again with the inclusion of the peaches and corals, a different color story than what Sweet Talk presents. One of you had mentioned Yes Please. I don't know where the ColourPop Yes Please palette is, but it basically at the time was a dupe for Natasha Denona's Sunset palette. I think this still is a different color story. You predominantly have the oranges, reds, and yellows, deep browns, and here you have coral. Although you have gold, I feel a little different than what this color story has to offer. If anything, the warm edit palette I feel more closely resembles Sunset. But today we'll get into just Sunrise and Spritz, and with that said, just coming in a little closer. That's enough. I also have a full-on review video dedicated to Natasha's Sunrise palette if you want to head over to that one. How I conduct these showdown videos is basically apply the shades that I feel closely relate to said palette. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm like, what actually matches up? Because I mean, maybe a few of the metallics, perhaps? Why don't we start with Figura, shall we? And I don't mean to push Sonia G on you, but let me tell you, friends, how easier it is for me to edit that description box. Instead of having it from Hakuhodo, from Wengas, from the Refer, from the Isam. I eventually will go back to using multiple brushes, but I'm just giving myself a little bit of a break right now. I hope you don't mind. And we start off with my jumbo blender. I have you panned out a little wider just so you can see everything in action as we apply these shadows. Oh, and I forgot to mention that all eye looks will be prepped with the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre. The color I feel best resembles Figura is, what is this? Clove. And this is with my worker one. Oh, that looks similar. I like how this is going so far. Interesting also to see these matte formulas go head to head. I've been going Natasha Denona style in terms of my eyeshadow application. I like going heavy with the dark matte first. Also, Rocio does this as well. Granita with my Blender Pro. I'm gonna zhuzh those edges now. Wiped off the brush and now going in with Morgan. The peachy shade in Sunrise. Interesting. I feel sometimes Natasha's mattes are so creamy and pigmented that they affect the texture, whereas for the Viseart mattes, they just kind of layer a little more seamlessly, I feel. I'm going back in with Clove just to fix that up. And then I'm going to take Morgan more so on the very top edges. I'm gonna do the same thing with Granita. All right, here is phase one. What do we think? I feel I'm getting a little more red from the Viseart, and I'm getting a little more like, it's almost a maroon versus like a raspberry. I could be totally losing my mind as well, but they do look similar in hue from here. Why don't we take Fizz and apply that on the majority of this lid? Oh, that's so shiny. And this one, tapping these edges. I would think either Awakening, but that has like a flip to it, or Agate, or Dayspring, or Laurel. Hold on, let's figure this out. Here's Awakening, Laurel, Agate, and Dayspring. I would say the only one that closely relates Fizz from Spritz is Awakening. Everything else is like a different color altogether, I felt. Awakening it is. I forgot how beautiful Awakening is. It is a duochrome shade, but when you see it in pan, you think it's just like a bronze shade, but it is not. Just zhuzhing this a little bit. Let's use other shades on the lower lash line, shall we? With that said, I'll go in with Brioche with my mini booster. We do not have any brown mattes in here, so I figured, how about Jasper? I know Jasper is orange, but I feel, probably the closest one we could go with right now from Sunrise. I need to get another mini booster. This brush, I just forget how beautifully effortless it is with lower lash line application. It's just really the best. Build a 3 with Limoncello. Gonna put this here on the lower inner third. Figure we going with Dayspring now. Same brush, same location. Prosecco with my pencil one. Oh, it would be interesting to see how this compares to Agate. Now, Agate from Natasha Denona. Yeah, this almost has like a silvery flip, whereas Agate has a warmer flip to it. All right, here is a quick look. I will put on lashes and zoom you in for a close-up. I think the only similar shade here is the mattes, but even so, more raspberry, more maroon. Interesting. Well, I'll be right back. Here's a close-up of both looks on the lashes. I have Ardell Wispies in 700, as I like to call them, daddy long leg lashes. Here is the Natasha Denona Sunrise side. You could just see that beautiful duochrome from Awakening. I forgot how beautiful this shade is. And we have Jasper on the bottom with the orange and a little bit of Daybreak here, that like beautiful golden bronze shade. And here on this side is a little more low-key. Fizz is like strictly, I feel, more of like a light copper shade, and then you have the brown here on the lower lash line. Limoncello is like a beautiful antique gold, and Prosecco I feel is a little more icy, whereas Agate has a little more of like, dare I say there's like a very small pink shift in there, but it's warmer overall. On the lips, I have Natasha Denona's I Need a Nude lipstick in Noah, line with Mentic Cosmetics liner in Nude. I have to say, from afar, I wouldn't have guessed that I used two different palettes. And we'll do another demo because out of my curiosity, I want to see the other colors in action. But off the bat, I would say if you kind of wanted the Sunrise vibe, but you were intimidated by 15 Shades, I feel you could get something like that from Spritz. Dare I say, Spritz is like the grown and sexy version of Sunrise. This could be grown and sexy too. I totally get it, but this has a little more punch because with the inclusion of the magenta and the purple and the yellow, if you like, that's cool, but this is a little more my speed, and you can get something like that from Spritz. And a quick note about the metallics in Spritz, or generally Viseart metallics versus Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona metallics are outstandingly beautiful. They are in their own league in terms of performance, of texture. The different shades she has in that formula are just sublimely gorgeous. I will say some of you have mentioned that you appreciate the Viseart Shimmer slightly thinner formula as you feel is more flattering on mature skin. Sometimes it's not great to have a lot of texture, or that a metallic is so creamy that it actually accentuates lines and texture on your lids. I feel Viseart Shimmers are still lightweight enough to look beautifully smooth on the lids, but still have that luminosity, that shine about them, and maybe a lot easier to deal with, right? Specifically in Sunrise, I feel with like Poppy and Phlox, these are more traditionally what Natasha offers in terms of like that smooth metallic formula. But then when you get into shades such as Aster has a little more texture to it, and maybe not great for someone who just wants something a little more user-friendly in that respect. So why don't we take this off? I'll try to match up shades again, but I think we're moving into the realm of lots of differences here, because Spritz does not have like the citrines, it does not have the purples, it does not have the magentas. It has the bronzes, the peaches, and like the raspberry type reds. But that's it. So let's see what we can do. Take this off and I'll see you in a minute. I don't know where to start because, for instance, this is Granita from Spritz. This is Morgan from Sunrise. Spritz is more coral, Morgan more peachy. We could go in with Granita, but then I guess we'll go in with Glory. I mean, I know they're totally two different shades, but kicking things off with my jumbo blender. Worker 1 with Glory. I'm gonna tap, tappity, tap that on the outer corner. All right, we're kicking things off with two different shades, magenta and coral, I feel like. And come to think of it, the coral matte in the coral palette feels like more pink than this. This has a little more like orange in it, I feel. Now with Brioche, I'm gonna use that to blend out Granita. I think these two shades paired together are so lovely. Even though this has a lot of punch, I feel the Brioche matte shade makes it more daily friendly when paired together. Carnelian, why not? I'm gonna start on the very edges because I don't want to cover up Glory too much. I know I'm very close to the brow bone. There's a hole in my brow, but to get that full-on gradient, I feel if I overlapped it too much onto Glory, you won't be able to see the transition. I'm actually going to put some Jasper here as well. I think that's such a pretty combination. Scala on the lid with my soft shader. I'm also trying to do combinations that I did not do on my initial video using the Spritz palette. That is a strange route I took because this is significantly lighter than Scala on the lid. Hold on. We're gonna start this all over again. I know this shade is not a matte, but let's see what we can do if we kind of brush it on the inner part of the eye, just to kind of mimic what's going on this side. Taking Spritz, just layering it on top of Granita under, what is this shade called? Arancia. What can we put on the lid? Well, let's try Balmy. Is this what it's called? Yes, indeed. Balmy on the lid here on the Spritz side. Tapping a little more Granita over the balm so it can look a little smoother in transition. And I think I'm going to take Laurel. Let's go in with Laurel. Very different texture. It's creamier. And you kind of have to press it too, I feel like. I felt like we kind of make the yellow story happen with Arancia, like how we tried to do with Carnelian. I think we did something there. Going with Pape under this lower lash line. Guess I'll go in with Figura under the Spritz side. Oh, the clouds are rolling in again. Aster, build a 3 lower inner third. There's not a shade that resembles Aster in Spritz, so I think I'm just gonna go in with Fizz. Same location on this side. Still gonna go in with Prosecco, then Agate. All right, well, I'm gonna wait till these clouds roll by, slap on some lashes, and I'll be right back. Finished look, friends. We have the same Ardell wispy lashes in the style at 700. And here you can closely see the slight differences between the two. Here we have the Aster duochrome purple shade here. And the majority of the lid has Glory with a little bit of Jasper and that beautiful, and that beautiful metallic shade that I felt went pretty well with Fizz from the Viseart side. This we have the antique gold because we don't have anything purple from Spritz. I went in with Figura, the raspberry matte. Then I went in with Poppy, the raspberry metallic shade from Sunrise. Cerulean here to really give that strong sunrise effect. And then I use Arancia, which doesn't have the same depth of color as Carnelian. If you wanted to quickly see, Carnelian is a straight up mac and cheese matte shade, whereas Arancia is a metallic, but you see that the effects will be totally different. I added it as I would a matte just to see if I could get a similar effect. I probably would have been better off just applying it on the lid, but you know, experimentation is fine. This is distinctly more coral. This is distinctly more magenta. On the lips, I have the Gucci matte finish lipstick in Tony Purple, lined with MAC's lip liner in Currant. I might have purchased matte shades from Selfridges because they were $34 instead of 40 something at Sephora. Sorry, please forgive me. All right, fam, what do we think? I feel, yes, although this Spritz palette reminds me of Sunrise, absolutely. And ultimately, from the 4 looks that we did, can you get a similar vibe from Spritz with what's happening in Sunrise? Absolutely. I know if we really break it down, for those color nerds out there, you're like, no, Alicia, this is a lot more coral, that's a lot more magenta. But from afar, I think, yes, you could get a Sunrise vibe type of a eye look using Spritz. Now, I would say you have to layer the shadows more. You have to probably experiment more. You have to layer the colors more. I truly feel the Spritz palette is for the makeup wearer that is looking for a little fun, but overall is remaining low-key with their makeup application. Sunrise, you know, you have to take full advantage here. You got 15 shades and a lot more range here with the yellow and the maroon and the purple and the raspberry and the peach and the bronze. And while I agree that there is range in the Viseart palette as well, it's a little more curated, right? And I feel a little more approachable. 12 shades instead of the 15. You're looking at 1 gram per pan, and I think the ones in Natasha a little more than a gram per pan. So you have to figure out what is your makeup wearing style. What will you vibe with more? What color store you align with more? Do you even like purple? Do you even like duochrome? From your experience with Viseart and Natasha Denona, if you happen to own both palettes from the brand, do you like one formula over the other? Again, back to the topic of mature lids and just having texture on the lids, I feel those people in that camp have better success using Viseart shimmers because they're a lot less intense in terms of texture. You still want a little shine, you still want a little pop on the lid, right? You're not going to get dull shimmers from Spritz, absolutely, and I think that was clearly evident in my Spritz video. But you know, if you want the powwow bang bang, you're gonna get a lot more from Sunrise, and overall you just got a lot more punch. You have a lot more choices here in terms of the colors provided. Do you need both? Absolutely not. I think if you have Sunrise, you can make Spritz like looks if we were to reverse the order. But is there something about this palette? I love the Spritz palette. I love the size of it. I just love how it's edited. It's great. For someone who loves to use all the shadows in a palette, sometimes it's just nice to have a smaller amount of shades to choose from. It just makes my brain a little less like active, and the looks are more simple because really, if you look at the Sunrise palette, the only neutrals in Sunrise remotely for me, Morgan, Jasper, not even. Jasper is a little more orange, and then you have magenta and yellow, but in the Spritz palette, you have brioche. You got the brioche to hold you down. If you want to just do brioche and scala, you're good. Brioche and arancia, you're good. Brioche and limoncello, you're good. So again, I think overall, Spritz a little more daily friendly than Sunrise. I love Sunrise because I love these colors. I love how they're curated. I just love the magentas with the yellows and the oranges. But not everyone is down with that, and I get it. And I understand those colors are very impactful for a daily look. And maybe you're not in an environment, I know we're all at home, I understand. At the time when Sunrise released, people, although they loved it, they didn't feel it very practical to have in their makeup routine simply because they weren't going to incorporate those shades enough to justify the price, even at $65. 15 shadows for $65, 12 for $39 if you're going with Spritz. I like Spritz because you could get the sunrise vibe without like the punch. You know what I mean? You could get a little more low key, or you can have a little bit of fun and move into the corals and the brighter shimmers in here. So hopefully this video will help, fam, in you trying to decide between the two, or maybe you have one and you're deciding if you want to get the other. I have a blast doing these videos because I haven't dipped into sunrise in quite some time, so it's actually really fun to create more looks with that palette. Let me know if you have Spritz or sunrise, if you have neither, if you have them both, what your favorite colors are, what you're planning to do, and until then, fam, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video will help, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another review, tutorial, shadow showdown, get ready with me, or nightly live chit chat. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.